Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it and give this video a like.
Check out the podcast below in the description as well. Subscribe and tell all your friends
And don't forget, we're sponsored by Tito's Handmade Vodka.
that we are the #1 vodka in America, Guy.
Derek Carr. Ballin'. Here are his numbers from the road win against the Pittsburgh Steelers. 28 of 37. You're going to do some quick math. That's 76% completion. 382 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I think what's really significant, Henry Ruggs had the best game of his career. Career high 5 catches for 113. And had the most targets on the team. Tied for the most targets on the team with 7. So it was, to me, part of Ruggs, when we talk about Carr, is like what you dreamed of when you got him, you saw it today. And it worked in a win.
Two bombs back-to-back weeks, right?
That's right. Yeah.
2 explosive bombs with an explosive player. Today was a little sweeter because he scored a touchdown. And listen, yards, it's like money. It's inflated now. But he's averaging over 400 yards a game. I mean, I know it was overtime in the other game, but he's thrown for 817 yards. And I think whenever I'm just looking up, he's got knocked for years for playing like Alex Smith. And you and I, who are just so much closer to it than I think than the national conversation, because outside of Derek and Fresno State and people watching him, even closely with the Raiders, nationally they kind of come in and be like, oh yeah, he plays like Alex. Like, his skill set, Alex had to play like Alex. He couldn't throw the ball down the field. Part of it's like, why can't Drew Brees doesn't have the arm anymore? He can't throw the ball down the field. Part of Derek Carr, like you're watching Herbert today, he can make these throws that 10 guys in the league can make. The throw he made to Ruggs today, even the throw he made to Ruggs last week, the little lollipop one that probably flew 45 yards in the air, Alex couldn't do that on his greatest day of his career. The one Derek threw today, no chance. You see how far that ball went? There were multiple DBs. Like Derek's arm, like Jimmy Garoppolo. Derek has a much better arm than Jimmy Garoppolo. Like Derek has an explosive arm. And I think the question was, after he got hurt, could he play comfortable and confident in the pocket, right? And use that arm to his advantage. And maybe this was the mindset with Gruden. Part of getting Henry Ruggs, remember when they acquired Ted Ginn and some of the guys with Alex, it's like, it doesn't work. Like, it's not, Tyreek Hill, think how much better Tyreek has just been with Mahomes. Why? Because he can utilize him down the field. Like, part of Ruggs, he should work with Derek.
Right. Now, and part of Ruggs is he's better off on a team with a quarterback like Derek Carr. Right? He could have ended up on a team, like if he's on the Vikings. Well, I guess the Vikings actually do hit some bombs. But if he's on most quarterbacks can't do what Derek does.
Now, this podcast has talked about the CeeDee Lamb historically is the type guy that he has a lot of success with, and that's true. Like, I think CeeDee is very similar.
Big targets, yeah.
Big target, contested catches, Keenan Allen type guy, Devontae Adams, who he played with in college, Crabtree resurrected his career. But Derek can make the throws to Ruggs. You just got to call him. And Derek has to be comfortable with looking his way, which he was not last year, right? That was kind of a knock. Is Derek comfortable with Henry? I think they look pretty comfortable right now.
Felt like more of a Ruggs issue last year.
But Derek didn't throw it his way. So, yeah, right, it might have been Ruggs not knowing where to go.
Yeah. I think part of deep ball accuracy is who are you throwing it to, and can that person make catches, right? Like, how much is Russell Wilson, who throws, some people think, maybe the best deep ball in NFL history, aided by the fact that DK Metcalf can run like the wind, and Tyler Lockett is like Willie Mays out there, right? It doesn't have to be a perfect throw for those guys. Yeah. So, it's similar with Ruggs. Like, the question is with Ruggs, like, can he elevate Derek? And right now you're saying Derek is the key to the whole thing, but Ruggs is, and we saw it in flashes last year, but now it feels like it's consistent. When you get that consistently, like, then when you're getting Deshaun Jackson consistently, right? Now you're doing things that most people in the NFL can't do, and they're winning. They're 2-0.
You see the touchdown he threw to Edwards in the back of the end zone? Edwards looks sweet. So you got Edwards who is the opposite body type of Ruggs, and a little bit he's going to be more of a physical guy. And then you have Waller as well. Like, those are three potent weapons. Now I think the question mark for them to be to truly make the playoffs, because they're going to be Their defense is, I think, a little overachieving, but it's clear they're way better than they've been. But they're going to rely on their star quarterback and the offensive weapons. Like, they need to figure out a way to get Josh Jacobs in the big games because he is a big time player. So, like, when they play the Chiefs, as these games go down and they're fighting for playoff seeding, he didn't play today. Now, they paid Kenyon Drake, who I like Kenyon Drake. Put him on my fantasy team today. I don't think he did that much. But if you can get Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake with those guys, if Derek's going to play like this, you'd say the MVP probably through 2 weeks. I think Kyler has 8 touchdowns. And he's, if it ended after 2 weeks, he'd be hard to trump. I just think statistically he's been fucking remarkable. But Derek is going to be, I'm more confident on Derek sustaining. Kyler better than last year, but he starts really fast. Can he sustain it? That would be my question. Derek can it's not going to be as fast paced as Kyler, even though I do think Derek can throw 4 and 5 touchdown games, but it's just not going to be quite as sexy just because Kyler is like, I don't know what, the modern day Michael Vick. It's remarkable watching him run around and do what he's doing. It's unreal.
I kind of think Derek's deep ball looks like Michael Vick's a little bit.
Derek's
a very sharp deep ball, piercing like Vick's. But Michael Vick threw my favorite deep ball.
But he picks between. Like, Derek has that ball that he threw to Ruggs, but he also has the Russell lollipop.
Right.
Which I think sometimes when he's not confident, which he hasn't been before when John first got here, or at least was trying to find his confidence, sometimes I feel like he gets lost between the throw. And right now, last week, when he threw it to Ruggs against the Ravens, perfectly timed for the lollipop. Perfectly timed. Threw it to that area. They clearly worked on it. Today with Ruggs, perfectly timed. Just whip it out and show how big your arm is and fucking hit him in stride and he'll walk in the end zone.
Which Derek loves to do.
100%.
That's the other thing, to your point, when we talk about like Derek check down, we've seen it.
He did get called that, didn't he? Like, that wasn't like it was.
But that's not his person. He does want to air it out. John, let's take a moment to tell the people about mybookie.ag, promo code HAM1.
You want to gamble on Monday Night Football? Mybookie.ag. Use the promo code HAM1. Get your gamble on.
And don't forget, get in our DraftKings League and sign up with the code HAM there.
Yep, you just download the DraftKings app, use the promo code HAM when you sign up, get in our league.
He did it in college with Devontae Adams a lot, and not just Devontae, actually. But he did it a lot in college. He wants to show his arm off, which why wouldn't you? Everybody, if you had that arm, you would want to do it too. So that's what always was weird to me about, kind of that conversation around him. Now he's got the weapon to do it. And I think now they're 2-0. I mean, I know they're 2-0, but I think now you look at their schedule, and we talked about last week, they could have the most impressive 2-0 in the NFL. Now they got Miami, their situation. And the other thing from an MVP conversation standpoint with Derek is they're just going to play in a bunch. They're going to play Denver games, just are going to look difficult. Then they're going to play games. They're going to play 4 games in their division that are going to be viewed as premium games, right? Chiefs,
Chargers, and Chiefs.
Chargers. You're just going to have everyone's going to be locked in on those games, especially if both teams are in good shape. So he's going to have opportunities for these moments that also are required of an MVP. And then, as you mentioned to me before we started the show, this has been a conversation with him before. And I think sometimes that is a part of it. Like, are people already open-minded to the possibility of you winning the MVP? I remember the year before Steph Curry won the MVP, it became a conversation like, this guy, this is different. And it felt like he had some momentum where people were suddenly open-minded to, okay, this guy actually could be an MVP. And he won the MVP, I thought, his first time, in part because of how he had played at the end of the year, the previous season, that it just opened people's eyes. Well, with Derek, his MVP potential year came several years ago, right? And we've been talking since then about, can he be an MVP type candidate again? Well, yes. Yes, he can. And here it is.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a star quarterback who's playing at the way Derek's playing right now, which is clearly, I'd have to look through the quarterbacks, but top 6 or 7 in the league. Like, they played a game against the Steelers. Now he's much older. They had a huge advantage at quarterback. Think about that. Again, peak Ben, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But 2021, so back-to-back weeks against Lamar and Ben, they had a clear advantage last week. Lamar was pretty good, too. I wouldn't say clear advantage, but this week it wasn't even close, right? Wasn't even close. What would the Steelers do to trade quarterbacks with Gruden, right? They would do it in a heartbeat.
I know. This was part of the Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long argument before the game. Did you catch that?
No, what was the argument?
They're just arguing over, like, one of them took the Steelers side as Terry had a Steelers jersey draped over. Howie had his Raiders jersey over his shoulder, and they argued about whatever,
What
just
was
to make them argue.
Ben's? See, Ben puts up some hollow yards because he was 20. He threw for almost 300 yards.
What were the number? How many completions? How many attempts?
27 of 40 for 295, a pick, and a touchdown. Now, the touchdown was like a swing route to Najee on that one that he scored, which was pretty cool. But you just watch him. He does look old. And unlike Tom, who's the all-time outlier of outliers, Malcolm Gladwell could just rewrite the book Outliers and just have Tom Brady on the front and just have no pages, and every page was just Tom Brady. No words in the book. Just every page is a picture of Tom Brady. Roethlisberger to me is what sports were when we were kids, and the way like our parents or our people we knew talked about sports. Like guys got old, and it used to be at like 35 in baseball, basketball, and football. It's like, it's a young man's game. That meant from like 22 to about 30 was kind of your run. And if you were lucky, you had this 30 to 35 run, but there was beside a kicker and the occasional reliever, maybe a jump shooter in the corner, but not even really. 35 to 40, you were fucked. It was over. You started working normal people jobs. You went into TV. You paid for your dealership. You did whatever you started doing in normal people life. Remember how old John Elway felt at 37 in the Super Bowl? It's like, John's holding on. Roethlisberger's 39 right now, and it feels like he's holding on for dear life. I feel pretty confident Roethlisberger will, I don't know I was going to say he'll retire at the end of the season. He might not go as quietly.
I watched his post-game after week 1, him in the suit talking about whatever he was talking about. And I remember thinking, I can't believe I'm watching this guy. No, I can't believe I'm watching this guy right now, still playing quarterback. I feel like this should be his farewell season, and it doesn't feel like, as he's talking, that it's his farewell season. Because he's kind of got them in a tough spot, right?
We have seen...
And they don't have a better option.
No, well, this year, I do think they'll pivot after this year, don't you?
Yeah, but again, you have to have something to pivot.
Well, you just trade your first round pick, or you do something. You go, you cannot.
But there's got to be the player you like. Is Jake Hanner going to be there when you're drafting at 17?
Yeah, but this guy will not be on the team next year. I can't see it. Not if it doesn't.
But I thought that last year about this year.
They were truly pretty fucked this year. Last year they won enough games. Do you think they're going to get to 10? If he ages quick, it could fall on him.
The problem's going to be right is that they have to get off the hot starts.
Watt's already hurt. Who knows how long he'll be out? I'm not trying to diminish. That was an impressive win today.
Lewis on YouTube says the most impressive thing about the Raiders so far is the defense finally look competent. But this goes back to their offense. Like Felix says defense is finally good. Their offense can be really prolific. Derek can be an MVP. So now, it's not just him, right? How many touchdowns does Tom Brady have right now?
Well, how many he threw today?
5, I think, at least 5, because he threw 2 to Gronk. Did Mike Evans catch 2?
He had 1. Yeah, Tom Brady today, guy, 5 touchdowns, no picks. So he's got 9 touchdowns through 2 weeks. He's the touchdown leader.
Yeah, so he might be the MVP. Again, I wonder if everyone's kind of open to Tom being the MVP. We'll see how the voters, if he gets the respect that he deserves.
He does have 3. Does he really need a 4th?
Yeah, I think he probably does. Feels like he should retire with more than 3 MVPs.
I give Derek a lot of credit for a guy that's taken a lot of shit to keep improving, because I think that is really the story of Derek. He just keeps getting better, and I think it speaks to his work ethic, and just him and Gruden clearly figured this thing out.
Yeah, and it's a credit. It is a credit to Gruden. We talk about some of the things that the Raiders have been missing, right? But Gruden's thing is this, and it's going well in terms of Derek's development.
Offense.
Evolution. Offense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, someone said in the chat earlier, he's going to get broken off here soon. Right? The MVP really would solidify that. But you win an MVP.
Well, then immediately he's a $40 million quarterback. He is the way he's playing right now.
Yeah, he doesn't need an MVP for
that. What would Washington or the Giants or all these teams pay him? Steelers?
For sure. But I was going to say, not even from a financial standpoint, you win an MVP in the stratosphere of player that you are now. there's no debates about, oh, this is a top 5 guy. You just are.
Changes a lot. When you brought up Tom, it's going to be probably harder, as it is always most years, to win an MVP. It's difficult.
One guy gets it, right?
Yeah, one guy gets it.
Sometimes two, but who did Peyton share it with? Like
McNair.
Sean Alex. Oh, McNair. Yeah.